Joining me now, Senate Majority Leader John Thune. It's been a long time. It's great to have you on the show. Thank you so much for joining us. All right, Leader Thune, it's now the new year, new Congress, and it's the same resistance from the Democrats. What's your plan over in the Senate to combat what he's planning for these nominees, including Pete Hegseth, who they want him in place on day one?
Right. Well, and we're going to grind them down. I mean, those national security noms especially are critical to the country. Really important that we get them done quickly. Schumer is, and the Democrats are probably not going to cooperate. You would think that after the election they might have learned their lesson. They did a little bit today. They got religion on the Lake and Riley bill. We had 84 votes for it in the Senate today to get on the bill. We'll obviously have to try and process it next week. But I'm hoping that they will come to their senses and realize that the election drubbing that they took was a message from the American people.
Well, it didn't sound like it, though, right? I mean, the plant fireworks, you have Elizabeth Warren going out there saying she's going to essentially make trouble for Pete Hegseth, bringing in, she's going to ask lots of questions. She's demanding, I think, answers to 72 questions. Look, that's advise and consent. I get that. Are you confident that Hegseth, start with him, is going to get through the Senate?
Well, I think, again, I don't try and prejudge these things until they go through the confirmation hearing, but I think he's got a path. And I think he's done really well in the meetings he's had. My meeting with him was really good. He talked about his vision for the department. I think focusing on the war fighter, and he's got great experience, not only as a veteran, but he's obviously very smart guy. And so I'm hopeful for him.
All right. And Senator, I know you said a couple of days ago that your relationship with Trump is evolving. When I hear that word, it always a little red flag there. And you want to get this to the same destination, you said, but what does that really mean? It's really diplomatic. But I just think of it this way, without him on the ticket in November, I don't see that the Republicans would have had either the House or the Senate majority. I mean, maybe they would have, but I don't think so. So shouldn't the president's priorities get some serious deference here, considering what he did to boost the entire Republican Party?
Yeah, no doubt about it. I mean, he got 77 million votes. He gave us a 53 Senate majority and the 53-seat majority in the United States Senate. So he is the driving force behind everything. And the people in this country gave him a mandate, and we intend to deliver on that mandate. Well, I describe my relationship with him. It's really good. I mean, I try not to overstate it because I know somebody might go to him and they might say something else.
Well, you backed Tim Scott, which, look, a lot of folks backed other people. It's not, people say that like big deal. I mean, you backed Tim Scott initially, and lots of people have come along to understand the party is a different party than it was 20 years ago.
It's a totally different party than the time I got into politics. And President Trump has brought to the table constituencies, coalitions, groups of people that never were voting Republican, and they now are. And we have, I think, a great opportunity that doesn't come along very often and sometimes doesn't last very long to get some really good things done for the American people, thanks to President Trump and his leadership. So we're working closely with him to answer your question.
An evolving relationship. All right. Well, okay. All right.
Well, I'm just trying to be
diplomatic.
Laura, I'm very conservative.
I know you are.
Characterizing conservative.
All right. 2 bills versus 1 bill. People watching this go, what does that even mean? Here's the concern. I think this is the concern that President Trump has stated, and probably still has, that once Republicans get their tax cut, a lot of Trump's other priorities, whether it's tariffs or maybe cutting Ukraine funding, are going to go by the wayside. He's concerned about that. Do you think you can get 51 votes if there are 2 bills for some of these other, more unusual priorities that the president has, unusual compared to the old Republican Guard?
Well, I think that yes, and actually that what you described is an argument for doing 2 bills, because if you're going to do the tax piece of it, some of the other things, that's probably going to be happening later in the year. I mean, I think we can do some things right out of the gate on the border security, which is a huge priority for the president, for all of us, on energy and on military readiness, increasing our defense budget, all offset. But do that, get a quick win, and then focus on the broader debate about taxes and some of the other issues that you mentioned, including spending cuts, which I think we have an opportunity, a historic opportunity, to do something about.
Are you worried that without significant spending cuts, that year and a half from now, Jay Powell sees that these numbers are going up, this budget deficit's going up, he raises interest rates, this country's thrown into recession, and Republicans get wiped out in the midterms? That's what I'm worried about, without real cuts. And I know Washington never wants to cut.
Right.
I know you're a fiscal conservative, but we've seen spending go up across the board.
Yeah, and I think what you have to do, and I think that reconciliation is a great opportunity to do it, you've got to slow the rate of growth. You need growth in the economy. You need pro-growth policies on the tax side. Tax, regulatory, energy policies, all things that we care about, that we want to do through reconciliation as well. But then you've got to slow the rate of growth, and particularly in some of the mandatory programs, the entitlement programs. And that's something that Congress hasn't been able to do for a long time. I think the president has the mandate. I think members in the House and the Senate, Republicans, both want to get this done. And I think it's important because if we don't, you're right, we're headed on it's a train wreck. It's a fiscal train wreck. We can't control monetary policy, but we do control fiscal policy.
You all going to be making a trip out to California, Republican leadership, to embrace those people out there? I mean, it is a horrific situation.
It really is, and it's unfortunate. And again, I mean, this is a function of governance and management, conservative governance, conservative management. I feel really, really sorry. My heart goes out to those lost, their families, and the people who've lost property. It's devastating.
Bring California home. That's what I say. California is a wonderful state, and that it doesn't deserve what it's getting right now.
It is a
Senator,
great state.
thank you very much for joining us.
Laura,
we'll be watching the evolving
nice to be with you.
relationship with you and Trump. Thanks so much.